Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the You Are Radically Loved Summit. And today's speaker is somebody that I've known for a very long time. Elena Brower is a best-selling author. She is a yoga and meditation guru, teacher, student. She is also the podcast host of Practice You. And I couldn't think of a better person to talk about this particular topic. Today is about wisdom, and of the many years I've known Elena, she's always been somebody who I've really looked up to. Her level of devotion and commitment to her people, her students, her own practice has always just created a deep level of just love and inspiration and reverence for the way that she moves about in the world. And I'm so honored and privileged to have her here with us today to talk about wisdom. So thank you so much for doing this, first of all. I mean, I said it in the intro, but I couldn't think of a better person to have this conversation with.
God bless. It means the world to me to have you as a friend, to have you in my life for so many years, and to watch you flourish and shine the way that you are is really exciting to me, to say the very least.
Okay, now I'm starting to sweat. Thank you so much for saying that. I really feel that from my journey teaching, from when I started teaching to now, you've always been somebody that I've looked up to and been inspired by. I mean, your level of commitment and devotion to this practice and to your people and just to your own growth and transformation has really been a incredible model of wisdom for me. And I just, again, I look at my life in the last decade and
Mm.
how I've been able to navigate being a teacher and and I took a really long time for me to actually call myself a teacher, right? Because I was like, how am I a teacher? This is very bizarre. It's a bizarre thing to call yourself. Um, for me anyway, it was for a very long time. But I know that talking to you and working with you for many years, at the beginning, I just always felt very held and cared for. And I'm so just grateful for you.
Mm.
I,
That's an honor, and I'll take it. And I'll also just send it right back to you and say, again, the witnessing of you and your commitment to yourself as you have grown and expanded your work and your vision. It's really been a pleasure to watch, a privilege to watch. And in reading your book now, thank you for giving me this chapter. I loved hearing about you and your badass high school bullshit artist. So, um, and what was funny is that in the very first part of this chapter, it's chapter 10 for our listener viewer, she talks about how ignorance is bliss. And is it really? I used to have a French teacher when I was in, I think it was 11th or 12th grade, who I just couldn't seem to keep it together in that class. And I did fine. My grades were fine, but I was so disruptive. And I'm embarrassed now to say that I just couldn't, I didn't have enough self-esteem to just be quiet. That's
Mm.
really how it was. And she used to say, Brower, ignorance is bliss, Brower, get out of my class. And she would say that to me. And I was just like, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. And I could never tell if it was a compliment or some sort of degradation. But anyway, it stuck with me. And then when I read it in your book, in your chapter, the one that you've assigned me, I was like, oh, that's funny. That's
Wow.
really funny. I need to reach out to Linda Kroll and apologize.
Well, but it's so interesting how it can have two different meanings, right?
Totally.
Like, I love that paradox. I love the experience. And when you sent me that voice note when you were telling me the story, I was just so excited because it made me feel that same, the paradox of, wow, this is something that, in a way, can be taken as something, yeah, like a insult of sorts, or it
Yes.
can be taken as something that can empower you to, learn, dig in deeper, right?
Yeah. Avidya. It's so interesting how, at times I think ignorance has been a great blessing. Uh, Even there have been recent moments in recent months where, um, yeah, a lot of mudslinging uh, in the interwebs, and ignorance has been bliss.
Mm.
You know, I have other people watching, and but I don't need to see that. And ignorance is indeed fully bliss. Then there's a whole nother part where ignorance is actually really a liability. And to know where, in fact, you are ignorant, to know where, in fact, I am ignorant, and to, as you said, dig in more deeply and go and learn and practice and, sink in even when it feels like it's crumbling. A little quote from Octavia Rahim's new book,
Yeah.
Be the Seed. Uh, that's called for. So I think that both sides really do merit discussion. That's
Yes. Well, and for you, where does that, because to me, that's wisdom. Exactly what you said. That to me is the wisdom, right?
just knowing that there's both, and holding both. Yeah, I would agree with
What do
that.
you think we can do to cultivate more of that, especially now? I mean, one of the big reasons why I felt every single chapter, obviously, in the book resonates with me because because I wrote it, but I believe this particular one really felt way more nuanced than the other chapters because I feel that it takes different paths for a lot of us, different paths. It looks differently for a lot of us to get to that place of feeling the wisdom within. Um, so I guess maybe I'll start off by asking you, what does wisdom mean to you? Like, what is that? What does wisdom represent to you? And how do you continue your path in staying in alignment with that?
Well, I think there's a little bit of what I just mentioned where I have to know where my attention belongs, and where it does belong for me in the cultivation of wisdom is study, practice, and rest. Period. That's it. My first priority is the kid and my own body. The rest is study, practice, and rest. That's it. There's time allotted for each. I treat each of those three pursuits in equal fashion. And I think any one of them without the other does not lead to wisdom. But I do think that all three of them, in relatively equal measures, does. Like I have to rest, I have to make sure that I'm practicing, and I have to study. And I'm going to actually give you a little sneak peek of what's happening right
Yes.
here.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah,
hold on. I'm going to pin you. I'm going to pin you.
there we go. So that's right in front of me all the time. This is what's coming to me on retreat, with me on retreat, that pile. I am constantly with my nose in a book. And I try and read all different sorts of authors so that I'm always, selecting very carefully the impressions that I take in. I think that's part of wisdom. And, choosing where I'm ignorant is a part
Yeah.
of wisdom too.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. In the book, I one of the quotes that I wrote was it says, "When we are afflicted with ignorance, we truly believe that our truth is the only truth, and we close ourselves off from understanding other perspectives." And so I want to talk a little bit about that because you just mentioned how part of your practice is reading and really exploring all the different uh, ways of practicing and being and understanding knowledge. And this is something that truly is, it speaks to your integrity, and it's integrity in you that I've experienced personally for over a decade, that you really are somebody who is always open to discovering and
Yes.
learning and teaching. And I think to me that innate curiosity within you is what has always drawn me to you, because I love doing that as well. And it just puts you in this position of, okay, if we can be in a place of leadership, if we
Mm,
can be in a state of empowerment, we can then still be a student and we can still be in the process of our own transformation.
totally. I've worked it out so that most of the work that I do involves, by its very nature, having to study to prepare in order to do that work. So I have to be a student. Like I can't not be a student. My work will not go forward without my studentship and my commitment to that. So feels very true to me. I don't, people come to me a lot and they're like, oh, I still feel like such a fraud. And I'm just like, just study, practice, rest, and report the news from there.
Yes.
All you need to do. You will never feel like a fraud again if that is what you work from.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't, it could also be a function of age. Now I'm 51 and all the sort of chatter doesn't really touch me as deeply as it used to. And I'm on my mission.
Yeah. I don't know that you may or may not remember this conversation. We had it
Probably
again
will.
many years ago, but I think it had to do with feeling, it was right before, maybe it was before I went on that yoga tour
I
with
know I
Yoga
remember it
Journal.
well.
Yeah, and we were talking, I was saying something about me feeling like we're talking about teaching, or somehow I said that I was feeling like a yoga fraud or something. And then you basically, and I'm going to botch what you said to me, but the gist of it was, um, you'll never be a fraud if you just be yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's it. People can come after you or me or anyone for all sorts of stuff. But you know that if you're yourself, there's nowhere to hide. There's nothing to hide. Like, what do you got? Come, talk to me. Come hang out with me. Call me on the phone. I'm right here. I'm just me. I'm happy to address anything that you need. I am just being myself here. That's it. It's so funny. But yeah, that ended up being a good thing for you. You learned a lot on that trip. And I feel like, if even if you look back and you're like, well, did I really need to do that? It's like, yeah, you did. You did. You needed to experience being, you were put on a pedestal at times. You were taken down at times. It was hard. It was easy. It was wonderful. It was exciting. It was travel. It was difficult. It was everything. And it made you, believe in yourself in a different way, I feel, by the time it was over.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. That's exactly, yeah. And I think one of the biggest obstacles that I've encountered myself, and I know that a lot of people have also, when it comes to um, the difference between knowledge and wisdom. And and in the book I say experience is what separates knowledge from wisdom. And I think that in that experience, I really learned how to discern that for myself. I think what stops us a lot of the times is from having an experience is we talk ourselves out of it, right? We say, "Oh, there was a million reasons I could have not gone on that tour or not taken that gig, and I could have justified it just as well as I justified going." But at the end of the day, there was this pull within me that felt I needed to go through that process. I needed to have that experience in order to there was no response. It just I knew inside that I needed to have that experience. And so this is part of my next question for you is that internal pull, that thing that compels us to do something new, to try a new experience, to go into a new avenue, to try a different career, to whatever it may be. How do we discern that? How do we allow, instead of talking ourselves out of doing things, how do we listen to that call?
You know what you just said, experience is the bridge between knowledge and wisdom. I think that it reminds me of something that I learned in my 20s. Knowledge is one thing, understanding is another. Understanding is born of experience. So we can now equate for the purpose of this conversation, understanding and wisdom. And the way to sort of prioritize understanding wisdom is simply to always, in some way, do the thing that makes you terribly uncomfortable. Whether it's apologizing, going on a damn nationwide multi-state yoga tour as the first really woman of color doing such a thing. I don't know if you remember that, but that was true.
I didn't, but thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. And I was so proud of you. I was proud of like all the forces for making that true, because they could have just picked some white girl and they didn't. They picked you. I think that's what it's about, doing the thing that makes you uncomfortable. It could be delivering an apology, even when it's not received. You know, it could be going and doing something that you've never done before. It could be, you know, spending time just sitting on the sofa, looking out into the clouds and not accomplishing the next thing that has to be done today. Could be cooking something new. I don't know. But all of that leads to this like multifaceted, many layered, it's like cooking something very delicious. There's so many different flavors in there. And usually the most delicious things are like 2 days old, you know?
True.
Especially when it comes to like chili or red sauce,
Mm,
you know, let it be, build it over time, do the thing that isn't comfortable, let the layers come on, and then see what you have.
yeah. Yeah. Do you think it's more work for us to be closed off to that experience than it is to be open? And I say that when
Hmm.
receiving an apology or, having to take the steps to, I don't know, explore some other way of being. And I look at it from the perspective of holding a resentment. It's hard for me to say that because I'm not a grudger. I'm not a resentful person. That doesn't it's really hard for that to run in my system because I'm like a big heart walking around and I'm just like, okay, yeah, everybody makes mistakes. Let's just like move on. But at the same time, I want to be able to acknowledge that not everybody is going to process things the way that I do. Um, and there have been moments where I've held on to things longer than they served me. And I don't know that they serve anything at all, but that is just my opinion. Um, what do you think that holding on to that or reserving that energy is degrading other parts of our spiritual path?
In the short, yes. And I do think holding grudges and being angry and, you know, resentful takes a lot of energy out of us. Where at first it might seem that opening oneself and apologizing and releasing and forgiving seems like a much more effortful action, it's completely an illusion. Because the truth is, when we do let go and we do release and just let everybody be who they are fully, let everything be what it is fully, and sit in the middle of our lives with this present reality, I think that takes a lot less energy, even though it seems like it might take more initially.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good sitting practice. That's all. It's any good sitting practice, any good meditation practice. You're plopping yourself down right in the middle of the fray. You know, plop yourself down in the middle of the fray. Handle the fact that not everybody's going to like you. Not everything is going to go the way that you thought. Not everything is going to be perfect, but it's going to be the way that it is. And your job is only to be present in the moment for the reality as it is. That makes life a little bit easier, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, it's so true. The final question I want to ask you is what was the most noteworthy thing that came up for you while reading this chapter? Like, was there something new that came up that felt like something fun to explore? Did it remind you of something or bring you into a different place aside from your French teacher?
My French teacher. I got to find that lady. I hope she's still alive. The meditation that I recorded for this is a meditation I haven't recorded before, and I've learned it from Roshi Joan Halifax. It's turning the mind toward the body, and it's sort of reading this chapter sort of solidified exactly what I am working on personally right now, which is pretty much exactly what I've been saying this whole time. Uh, Letting go of things needing to be perfect, releasing the need to be loved and liked by all, um, releasing the need to be, purposeful and useful to all. I can't be. Um, this particular practice that I hope if our listener viewer will tune into it, it's short and it's very potent. And what it does is it takes all of this mind energy and puts it into various places throughout the body, like strata, going from the top to the feet, um, in order to remember that I only have this body right now. I don't have anyone else's opinion. I can't control the world. I can't oversee what happens. I can only be in this body right now. And like Octavia says in her new book, like sink in even when it feels like it's crumbling and be the seed. That's all I've got. That I feel in reading this chapter, somehow that came.
Wow.
I don't even like wisdom, where it's I have it in every single book in front of me. I have it everywhere in my house. And reading that chapter reminded me of this meditation and brought me into it in such a full way. And it was like a gift to me. Like, and that's why I chose it to share it, because when you get a gift that you love so damn much, you have to just like quick give it away. Quick, it's too good. I don't want to be attached to it. It's just like that. Like, thank you so much for it, because I needed to be reminded of this again and again. It has not been the easiest of years. And I really appreciated the learning that I gained while I was reading this one.
Oh, thank you. Wow. I'm gonna continue to rewatch this for the rest of my life. Okay. Thank you for saying that. For everybody that's watching or listening to this, the link to that meditation that Elena recorded for you specifically as a gift will be in the show notes below. Or if you're listening to this, you'll have the link there as well. Be sure to listen to it. You're gonna just love it so much, and um, I'm so grateful to have you in my life and to have you as a mentor and somebody that I really love and am inspired by every day. I'm beyond grateful for you, and I can't wait for everybody to see this and have this experience and have the experience of the book as well. So, thank you so much. For the people that are watching this, where can they go for more information?
ElenaBrower.com is perfect. Everything is there. You'll find it all there. I'm so thankful that you've chosen me to be part of this, Rosie. I'm so proud of you. I feel like it's better than mama to you. I feel like big sister. I feel like, oh my God, I'm bursting proud of the work in this book. It's so quality. It's so needed. And I appreciate where your heart is at with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.